Before you go to bed, make sure you lock your gate. Arm the alarm. Lock your doors. And most importantly, lock the security gate between the living room and your bedroom. That's what saved the life of this couple who was about to be murdered and horribly tortured and who knows what else in their own beds. This is the reality of South Africa. It's a mess. And you know what? South Africa's in the news because it looks like people are finally taking this very big problem that South Africa faces seriously. And of course, I'm talking about the problem of race-targeted violent attacks and ethnic cleansing.
We'll kill 5 white people, we'll kill their children, we'll kill their women, we'll kill anything.
But we are starting with this whiteness. We are cutting the throat of whiteness. Shoot
to kill. Kamaza. Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer. Brr, pa, pa. Brr, pa.
Now this is going to be an interesting video to talk about because this is such a landmine of a topic and something that's very divisive. And the best way for me to start to talk about this topic is to show you something. What you're seeing here is a flag that I took around with me when I did my first road trip through America back in 2016. The signatures of people that I met along the way. And the kind words of welcome and encouragement and love that I received from all walks of life around America. This flag is proof that America works. This flag is proof that America is filled with people of compassion and love and understanding, good people, kind people, generous people. And that's something that I will never forget because the people here is what make this country great. I can't say the same for South Africa, however. South Africa sucks. It's a shithole, and I'm being completely serious here. South Africa is a nation divided into tribes, and a nation that has been circling the toilet bowl for a very long time. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to hold back. I have every right to criticize South Africa the way I do because I am a white South African. I grew up in South Africa, born in Cape Town, moved to Johannesburg when I was about 10, and I moved to China when I was 25. So that's when I left South Africa at the age of 25 years old. And I will never, ever go back. But what about all this brouhaha in the news now that President Trump has signed something wanting to give refugee status to the Afrikaans ethnic minority in South Africa? Well, we're going to talk about this heavy topic. But first, a data broker rap. Deep within the corporate offices of a data broker, something is happening behind closed doors. You think you have your secrets? You silly naive thralls. We sold them all to scammers. Get ready for some calls. Your mailbox will be bursting. And we're the reason why. You cannot escape us. We're data broken bros. When you browse the internet, when you click on accept a cookie, when you sign up for some or other service in a shop, your data gets sold to data brokers, and data brokers then sell it to other people. But there is a way to get your name and personal information removed off of these lists, and that is incognito. You see, they do the fancy footwork and all the hard work for you. There are thousands of data brokers out there. And for you to go after each one and legally request for your name to be removed would be incredibly time-consuming and costly. But Incognito does it for you. You give them permission, and then they will, on your behalf, send legal letters to all of these different data brokers to get your personal data removed. If you're tired of junk mail and you want to get rid of all these targeted adverts and take your privacy back, go to incogni.com/Winston and use the code Winston to get 60% off. Protect your privacy today. Go to incogni.com/Winston and use the code Winston to take your personal data off the market. And now back to the show. So, let's see. Who are the Afrikaners? Who are these people that are supposedly being given a refugee opportunity in America? Well, the Afrikaans people are basically the descendants of Dutch settlers. Think of your Oregon Trail in America. Think of your pioneers with their ox wagons. It's exactly the same thing. Same idea. They also had ox wagons. They went through the African bush. They gave the middle finger to the British, just like you Americans did. And turns out they're incredibly good farmers because, you know, they had to survive and figure out the land and all that along the way. And guess what? They became incredibly good farmers. They are Afrikaans speaking. I'm not an Afrikaner. I do have Afrikaans people on my father's side of the family. I can speak Afrikaans because we had to learn it in school. But I'm not what I affectionately call a Dutchman. I am a Soti, or Sootpeel, as they call us, which means a salt dick. That's what they call British South Africans like myself. Got 1 foot in South Africa, 1 foot in England with your dungus hanging in the sea. Hence the salt dick name. And I'm being completely serious. The Afrikaans people, specifically farmers, the boere, as they call it, boer just means farmer. Have been targeted for murder, been targeted for horrendous crimes for decades now. And by every stretch of the definition of genocide, that is what they're going through and have been going through. There are horrendous stories. I'm not going to get into it because if I even try to describe some of the absolutely disgusting things that have been done to these farmers, you know, in front of their families and to their families and so on, this video would get removed from YouTube. I mean, being a white South African growing up in South Africa, I myself was targeted for crime. My family was targeted for crime. We had home invasions. My mother was molested while these guys broke in to try to kidnap her, and they put her in the trunk of a car and all this other stuff. I've made videos about this stuff in the past. You know, I've been shot at. I've been attacked. I've had lots of bad things happen. My sister's been hijacked at gunpoint. You know, like every member of my family, every friend that I have who's white in South Africa, well, I should be fair and say black too, have experienced crime. But there is a big difference because although everybody in South Africa, and I mean everybody, is a target of crime, and I've mentioned this before in my videos, you get something called a tsotsi. And a tsotsi is a criminal, like a disgusting, vicious criminal. They will attack anyone, regardless of their race or background. Doesn't matter what color they are, doesn't matter who they are. They will rob you, rape you, murder you, torture you, no matter what. Okay, but there's one big difference. And the big difference is you do not get politicians going up on stage or in parliament calling for the slaughter of white people, the slitting of their throats, the murdering of their pets, the killing of their children. You don't get that against any other group in South Africa. There's no politician going up there and saying, you know, shoot the Xhosas or the Zulus, or shoot the Indians, or slit the throats of Indianness, or whatever nonsense you can come up with. There is absolutely only one group who is targeted by politicians and who are discriminated against heavily in the media and by the government, and those are white people.
I will be happy to move. That will be nice. An Afrikaner blood. I want the blood of an Afrikaner. Bring the blood of an Afrikaner. I want it. We want
I know it's so difficult to talk about this kind of thing because in the world we live in today, the idea that a white European is first of all a minority, And second of all, an ethnic minority that is targeted based on their race for discrimination and crime and murder and all this it's difficult for people to swallow.
One of us to kill how many whites? We kill the children, we kill the women, we kill their dogs, we kill their cats, we kill anything that comes.
And the idea that a white European ethnic minority could claim refugee status is just so unpalatable for mainstream media and so unpalatable for most sensibilities around the world that they've been ignored for decades. Now, I'm not Afrikaans, so this refugee thing doesn't pertain to me. I believe that the Afrikaners deserve to be able to apply for refugee status. I've seen some horrible people who are trying their best to prevent this because they don't see how a white person should be given the opportunity to apply for refugee status, where, and rightly so, everybody in South Africa is targeted. But what they do not mention is the fact that no other ethnic group in South Africa has people standing up on stage calling for their slaughter and their murder. This is how genocides happen. When you've got political forces and when you've got big groups of people calling for the murder of a certain group. When you've got very powerful and influential politicians making their followers believe that all the problems in the world, all of their problems are due to insert your ethnic group here. It always ends up badly. When you start blaming especially a small minority, when you start blaming that tiny minority in a country where the majority of people, are being riled up and told that they are the people you've got to target. You get rid of them, you get rid of your problems. You know what's going to happen. And it has been happening. You can look up what plaasmoord is all about, the farm murders, and you will see. You will see just how horrific it is. And of course, I've been very disappointed to see the pushback against this thing by the American government. I've seen this pushback where you've got articles that are so written in such poor taste, with such inflammatory language as to try and blame and celebrate the fact that Afrikaners are being attacked or that white South Africans are being targeted for crime. And I have my entire life noticed that there are certain people, and it's not a small minority of people, but there are a lot of people that celebrate these vicious attacks against white South Africans because they believe that they deserve it. They believe that somehow white people in South Africa deserve to be murdered and raped and tortured and have all of their property that they've worked their entire lives for stolen and taken away simply because of some perceived thing in the past. Whether it be apartheid or whether it be colonialism or whatever the case, somehow they justified and celebrate these atrocities. And I'm not going to stand for it because having grown up in South Africa during the dismantling of apartheid, growing up being told to be tolerant and be compassionate and to accept and embrace this idea of a rainbow nation and see what a facade and what bullshit it really is. I'm not going to stand by when people celebrate the murder, the ethnic cleansing of a minority group of who I happen to be a part of. I'm not going to stand by while people unfairly and unjustly try to prevent these people who genuinely need refugee status from getting it. I'm going to support them. And so, again, I'm not a Dutchman, I'm not Afrikaans, but I support this refugee status thing. I think it's a step in the right direction. And I would be saying exactly the same for the Zulus. If they were being ethnically targeted by the Xhosas, and you had a Xhosa politician going up there and saying, we must slit the throats of the Zulus and we must kill their children and pets and shoot the Zulus, shoot to kill, or whatever the case, I'd advocate for them to get refugee status. See where I'm going here? So I just wanted to cut through the BS here. I support this. I think the whole world should support this. No small minority ethnic group should ever be targeted for ethnic cleansing. And I just wanted to say thank you to America for affording this opportunity to my South African Afrikaans brothers and sisters. And I wish them all the best of luck. People that were born in America, people who grew up in America don't understand how lucky they are. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but it is the most tolerant, the least racist country in the entire world. And I can hear the screaming out there. I know all you people out there are going to get in the comments and try to tell me that I'm wrong, but you know what? Screw you, because I'm not wrong. I grew up in Africa. I lived in China. I know the developing world. I know what true racism is. I've experienced it myself. I've seen it. I've seen how bad it is. And America is not that. America has its problems, sure, but it's also a fantastic place, and it's the only place where I've been welcomed with open arms by people of all ethnicities and all standings in society. It is the one country that I will fight tooth and nail to protect. I just wanted to say thank you for hearing me out on this, and you may not agree with me, and that's totally fine, because that's what life's all about. We've got to be able to agree to disagree. We all have different experiences growing up. We all have our demons we have to face, and we should try to face them together and help each other out, no matter where you're from. Anyway, stay awesome. Please join me for my secret show that I do with my friend Lawa86 on Mondays. It's called Shaban Ho After Hours. Links are in the description. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes, I do.
Is that like Arnold Schwarzenegger or something? Yes,
too.
I do.
Sorry, baby. That is the shittiest ad I've ever seen.